authorized to work and represent on behalf of exporters or importers. And exporters may avail service of this license by Commissioner of Custom. Let me mention about one sentence on these custom house agents and custom brokers. There is some custom, there is an examination for getting license. Custom brokers, FZH card holders. So these custom brokers examinations should be cleared. This exam should be gone through. Then principal commissioners of customs or commissioner of custom can give the license. Let's come to the second topic, that is documentation part. Let me just go through some of the points. Some are mandatories, or some of the this is not exhaustive. Let me just pro forma invoice generated based on purchase order. For example, I'm an exporter, then I need to get the purchase order from the buyers, the importer, of the consignee and consignor, showing details and quality of goods. The details including address, IEC code, GSTIN. Then number 2, packing. Second is custom packing list. List of items or boxes or specified marking code. These 2 invoices, these are the first 2 invoices. Then country of origin certificate. Declaration issued to the exporter. This is issued by Chamber of Commerce or authorized agency by Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Declaration issued to exporter that certify that the goods being shipped have been completely acquired, produced, manufactured, processed in a particular country. This country of origin is necessary, very much necessary. And for example, if we get recently in 2019-20, Iramdam, there is one importer, exporters in which work through this LCS More, Iramdam Cement. So this cement, he got this country of origin certificate of Myanmar. That country of origin certificate was issued by Ministry of Commerce and Trade, Myanmar. In the same way, for example, when India produce as an export, if we're going to export, do the export, then we need to get country of origin certificate. Then commercial invoice. This is one of the most important invoice. Includes details of purchase order, descriptions of goods with SSCN code, selling price, etc. Then fifthly, bill of lading. This is a shipment bill. Then health certificate, inspection certificate. Wherever necessary, as per case, or applicable only when there are food products that are animals or non-animal origin involved in international trade. This certificate or inspection certificate is necessary depending on the goods or item to export. For example, in the last season of interactive season, one regarding this organic certification. For example, if it is agriculture and food products, we need to apply to APEDA. APEDA, from APEDA, this certification organic related to agriculture as well as food products, we need to apply this certificate from APEDA. Then if it is through warehouse, the goods are kept, then in the case of that, these warehouse receipts are also required. Export-import license. The shipper is required to produce when exporting goods to international destination for the first time. This type of license may vary the type of export you intend to make. The licensing authority is chief controller of export and import. Then payment. buyers and sellers, in what way these payments should be made. This has been properly explained in the first sessions, this letter of credit or declaration issued by the importer's bank for payments of the sum specified to the exporter as per the terms agreed by the parties. That means between the sellers and the buyers, the importer and exporter, exporter of India and those in the counterpart, this importer of Myanmar, in the case of Indo-Myanmar trade, border trade. Then, last but not the least, shipping bill of export. This can be filed in two means, either ICS, EDI system, Indian Customs, electronic data interchange systems, in enable EDI port. Our land custom station ICP model is not yet enable EDI port, but functional land custom. The government of India is now pressurizing us hard to convert this non-EDI port to EDI. They set a timeline, 31st March. Last time when we pursued for this one, the Myanmar Tamu Port Court. This port court, Myanmar Tamu Port Court, was not accepted in the ICS, in our in the systems when we are going to make the trials of pre-production tests. So just now, before this season, I got a call from system manager, deputy commissioner of customs, Guwahati, that ICS, that means from both government, they have resolved somehow to get the correct or in order to convert our land custom station into EDI. EDI means filing of shipping bills or import bill of entry or bill of export through electronic or through digital systems. In case of LCS Moray, which is still non-EDI land custom station, likely to be converted in fully EDI LCS by April 2022. This is tentative. Shipping bills or bill of entry should be submitted online through iSCADE online mode once it is an EDI enabled station. Or other ways, if it is non-EDI, it is just a functional LCS, then by manual mode. An exporter needs to apply different forms of shipping bill of export for export of duty-free goods, then export of dutiable goods, and export under drawbacks, and submitted to the customs station or port as per prescribed format. This, the mandatory, let us assume that our certificate like GST certificate we have, then IC code we have, then the race, PAN card, opening of current account, everything we have, then the mandatory, let me tell you, the mandatory are this commercial invoice. If we go back, this commercial invoice, it's comprised of, that means commercial invoice, it contains those in the packing list, this in pro forma invoice, then bill of the shipping, shipment receipt, bill of lading, and for payment purpose, this letter of credit and these shipping bills. These 3/4 documents are very, very important or necessary for custom clearance. Some important websites. I hope we know my esteemed entrepreneurs, exporters and importers, potentials who are present today. You may know, you may have heard all these things, but let me just highlight this one. Some of the important websites, if we are really interested doing this export and import business, we need to go to Ministry of Commerce and Industry site, commerce.gov.in, then CBIC, Central Board of Indirect Tax and Customs, cbic.gov.in, then DGFT. DGFT is under our Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Very, very important. The changes, notification, circular, everything, it's changed every now and then. So we need to update. You need to browse this one. this dgft.gov.in. And for the local purpose, if we have some query and others, we have Deputy Assistant Commissioner's Office in Imphal, Sangakpam. You can go or you can email to, I have given the email customsimp@gmail.com. Then government accounts, then or over phone also, technical matter or whatever, query about custom clearance, export-import matters, you can contact. Then Land Customs Station, More. Thank you all. Thank you, organizers of this conclave. I wish the sessions, the conclave, a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. S.K. Kangte, Superintendent, Customs, ICP More, for giving a detailed aspects of the customs procedure and various other formalities and statutory requirements to be complied with for making the export activities much easier and legitimate enough. Well, is there any questions in this session about the customs procedure and documentation? Audience, if any, if there is any questions regarding this one.
May I, sir?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Gante, sir, I'd like to just understand, from when can we expect the ICP More to be converted to EDI port? Yeah. It's still non-EDI port, right?
Right, sir.
Also, when can we expect?
Actually, sir, regarding this one, it's initiated from the top level, DG systems, we call it. That's under CBICA. So they gave a deadline, all land customs stations across India, in phase 1, phase 2. So land customs More is under phase 1. Phase 1 to be completed, conversion of this non-EDI site to EDI, a deadline 31st March. Just now I got a call from the system manager, the assistant of system manager, that last March 8, we tried for this pre-production test. Then when we got the Myanmar Tamu custom port, the code is MMTMU. When the data entry operator in Daranga, one data entry operator is allocated. And when he put in this Tamu port code, or More land custom code is INMREB. So when he tried to upload the shipping bills and one for trial testing, it was not accepted. When they put Bangladesh code, it was accepted. So for the code issue, DG system, they took around 1 week. Before decisions, I got a call that this has been resolved. So I informed the DEO in Daranga to start that pre-production, whether it is okay or not. If it is, if the port code is accepted now, Myanmar port code, then because the port code should be taken, the nearest port code of More LCS is Tamu custom. So if the port code is accepted now, it will be easily, it will be done in one or 2 days, it will be converted.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, any more queries? In fact, it is very interesting to hear that More ICP is going to be converted into fully EDI ports. So this is what many of the traders are looking forward to, having such facilities. That's why the normal trade, the import and export, all the payment, all these documentation can be made much easier when we have such kind of a EDI system. So that is what we have heard. It's really interesting, and then we can see to it. However, one thing we come across is this More Tamu sector has been declared for the normal trading. But once it has been declared as a normal trade, then the entire trading things had been reduced to almost zero. So of course there may be some sort of a change in the customs tax structure.
That is one factor. And secondly, there is no specific preferential trade agreements, PTA, trade agreements, preferential trade agreement between India and Myanmar. Okay. So these two give obstacles or some sort of barriers for proper implementation. Because, for example, okay, India and Sri Lanka, they have SAPTA under third country. Whenever there is specific or bilateral trade agreement, preferential trade agreement, free trade agreement, then under that particular bilateral trade agreement, example, India and Sri Lanka. Okay. For example, India and Myanmar. Under that, everything should be mentioned, okay, the terms and conditions. Okay, okay. So that, for example, under SAPTA, they have this country of these things, this tariff relaxation, then concessions are provided in the trade agreements. Okay. So, Indo-Myanmar, there is no proper preferential trade agreements, as well as there is no specific and proper counterpart land custom station. So, the most important is proper trade, preferential trade agreements should be in place. Okay. Of course, that is policy matters, sir. Okay, okay. That I can.
Yeah, we understand that. We have an Indo-Myanmar border trade agreement, but not as a part of the preferential trade agreement. And then Myanmar, or for that matter, the ASEAN countries, we have an India-ASEAN free trade agreement, and Myanmar happened to be one of the members of the ASEAN countries, and they are not again within the ambit of the MFN trade, most favored nation kind of a trading. So there may be something we need to just look into in the policy matter. And for that, I just would like to draw the attention because of your comments and narratives. AMIA or the FIO in the relevant forum, such issues may be raised, and at least something can be done, and these trading things be formalized and better trading activities be prevalent in this segment, right, Indo-Myanmar, or for that matter, More-Tamu sector of this, this one component. So, yeah, you have some more things to say in this regard?
That's all right, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's why this is one of the issues which we would like to just look into, and then if possible some of the policy initiatives and some sort of a change in the policy frameworks of the government of India, we can also raise this issue. Why not? India-Myanmar border trade agreement has already been signed for so many years, and then when the normal trading things had happened, why not it is picking up to the greater extent, in spite of the fact that a whole lot of opportunities are there between these two countries too. Otherwise, Myanmar can also be used as a transit point for the third-party countries, provided some of the products from the ASEAN countries are coming to India through this one More-Tamu sector. Nothing like that, it can be possible. That's why we need to just cross-check in the land customs station, such kind of a transit trade be possible from the third-party countries, etc. Well, thank you so much. These are some of the insightful experiences we got it from you. I'm very much thankful to you, sir. Next, I would like to call upon, we would like to complete the offline presentation first. Sri Javed Akhtar Hussain from the Trade Fort Consultancy. He will be just sharing again on simplifying the documentation procedure in exports. In fact, in the export marketing or the export business, one of the most important component is the export documentation and procedure. So many aspects, just like the customs, then the country of origin certification, IEC code, and then for the insurance, ECGC, so many other aspects, including the certification which the imported country is demanding. That's why we are supposed to comprehend well all such kind of a documentation thing. So in order to make all these complex documentation things simplified, we have with us Mr. Javed Akhtar Hussain from the Tedford Consultancy. So he will be sharing all these things. I believe his deliberation will be of immense benefit to all the potential exporters and existing exporters both. So I request Mr. Javed Akhtar to take your time. Yes, Mr. Javed Akhtar Hussain, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Javed Akhtar Hussain, and I am from an organization called Trade40 Consultancy. So we are an import-export consultant. We handle international trade and banking. So we provide consultation on the international trade plus the banking related to the international trade. So when we talk about exports, all the dignitaries, they have told many things about related to exports. So by listening to all of them, you may be thinking that, my God, export is so tough. You have to follow so many compliances, so many things are to be done. It is not that. Export is in real very simple. Anybody can do export. A student, a businessman, a retired person, everybody can do export. To do export in a simple way, so that it becomes easy, we have to be disciplined. Export normally consists of two parts. That is, one part is the trade, second part is the banking. Trade is the exchange of goods that we send to other countries, that is, we export the goods. That is the trade part. Second part is the banking part, in which we receive the money. So both these parts are very, very important. Normally what as exporters do is that they only care about the trade part. I have to send goods. But how do we receive money properly? That is also important, because that is the core thing about exports. We are doing exports because we are earning more than domestic trade. If we are not earning more than domestic trade, then there is no use of doing export. We should better do domestic trade only. Now, when we want to do export, the steps that are involved is that, number one is that, like one of our guest lecturers from HDFC and even KhutSem sir has told us, that is, first is the business entity formation. We have to form a business. That business may be sole proprietorship, partnership, limited liability partnership, one-person company, private limited company, a trust or a society. These are the various entity types under which we can do exports. But choosing the correct entity type is very, very important. Now, as I normally see is that most of the people who, when they go into business, they normally go for private limited company, in most of the cases. Because why? I have a company. सुनने में अच्छा लगता है. So they normally opt for private limited company, and most of them do for proprietorship. We should always check what are the positive and negative of these entity types. If we are a sole proprietorship company, we are the sole owners. The documentation is simple, but there are a lot of liabilities which comes with it. In a private limited company, the liabilities can be limited, but it has a lot of compliances. To set up a private limited company, it costs around 25 to 30,000 rupees. But to set up a sole proprietorship, it costs around 2 to 3,000 rupees only. So choosing a right business entity type is very, very important. Second is the rent or the lease agreement. So when we set up a business, we need to have a place of operation that can be personal or that can be rented. So that place address proof or the rent or lease agreement, that must be drafted very, very properly, because these are the small things that will always be used for registering in any of the RCMCs, IEC or any other government documentation that will be done in future. These basic things will be required always. So if your documentation, this rent agreement is not proper, you will always face issues while registering in other government registrations. Next is the trade license. So this trade license is a document that is provided by the local municipality or the Gaon Panchayat, that they is just like an NOC that they issues, means they have no problem in you doing that particular business. The third is the applying of PAN. If you have a business ready, if you have a trade license, then you can apply for a PAN. you can apply for a PAN directly under the NSDL website. It is a PAN card website. It costs around 70 rupees. You can apply by yourself also, and you get the PAN within 15 days. You will get the e-PAN. You can download the e-PAN from your email and then just take a printout of it. The fourth is the applying for GST, that is a goods and service tax. GST is very, very important while doing business in present time. Fifth is the applying of LUT, that is a letter of undertaking. Letter of undertaking can be applied only after you are GST registered. What this LUT does is that normally whenever we are selling any product, if we are GST registered, we have to include the CGST, IGST, this GST taxes we have to include. In exports, GST is not required because that other country, they are not liable of GST. GST is only for India. So to exempt this IGST, LUT is required. So if you have a GST registration and you don't have a LUT, then the IGST value that will be charged on a commercial invoice, that will go from your pocket. Means you have to pay that out of your pocket. So that will be a loss on your end. So an LUT is very necessary. So if the process is very simple, whoever will get your GST registered, you can ask them, they can get the LUT registered also. Number 6 is opening a bank account. Now, choosing a bank is a very vital part in your export business. Number 1, the bank should be an authorized dealer bank. Means the bank should be allowed by RBI to deal in foreign currency exchanges. Second, the bank must have a good market share. Means the bank must be well established with a very market share are HDFC, Axis, ICICI. From the public sector banks, they are SBI, Bank of Baroda. So these banks have a good market share and they have experienced staff. So you should not always think that, okay, वो bank का manager मेरे साथ अच्छा है, I will do exports from that bank only. No. A bank may be good for you for domestic trade, but a bank may not be suitable for you for doing experienced bank person or a banking representative is always required for your exports. Because most of the time, exporters, they make mistakes while doing export. There are documentary issues, compliance issues. So if the bank is not knowledgeable on it, they will not be able to help you properly. So you will get stuck in compliance issues. So choosing a right bank is very, very necessary. Next, the bank must be 100 or your GST. The addresses must be same. The issues that always arise in these documents is that you have a different address in all the documents. In GST, you give some address. In rent agreement, you give some other address. In IC, you give some other address. So whenever there is a compliance issue, you get stuck because the documents does not match. Even when you go for RCMC registrations like APIDA, FIO, any other, they always look at these documents. How your rent agreement is made, what is your IC address, what is your GST address. And if these addresses don't match, they are not exact, your application is not approved. Your registrations are not getting approved. After your after you get your IC, the next vital thing is that to get your IceGate registration. IceGate is so if you don't have a showcase down, that is 091011. Okay, so various kinds of zingers are there. So the HSN may change. Okay, why this HSN is required? For example, in Hindi we say egg, anda. In Assamese we say koni. In Bengali it is called deem. Same product, various names. So in Manipur it may be called something else. Yeah. So if you tell me that gurum, right? Gerum. So if you say me, do you want gerum? I say, what is gerum? I don't know. But so same thing will happen to the custom also. So if you give the HSN code, around all the customs around the world will understand, okay, this is egg. I can allow this export, or I can allow this import. That's why identifying the proper HSN is required, because HSN is also used by the government for taxation purposes. So proper HSN is required. So if you gave a wrong HSN in a product and you send to the custom gate, the custom may confiscate your product. They may fine you. So having a proper HSN is very, very necessary. Next, there are various Incoterms. Incoterms are international commercial terms which are used while exporting. International commercial terms, in simple, if I say, let's say I want to eat Maggi. So to eat Maggi, I have to go to a shop to buy it, right? The shop owner will not come to me, like, Javed, let's take this 10 rupees packet of Maggi. No, I have to go and buy. So I am going to the seller, to his place, and buying it from his shop. Okay, this thing we all do. This in international commercial terms, it is called X works, EXW. This is the number one, X works. Similarly, there is FOB, free on board, like the shopkeeper says, okay, Javed, you no need to come. What you will do is that I will send a product via somebody, you just pay him. Okay, so that is called free on board. Similarly, CIF, CPT, CIP, DPU. So there are various Incoterms. Each Incoterm dictates what are the responsibilities a buyer will have to take, what are the responsibilities a seller has to take. So these are the things that exporter needs to have knowledge, proper knowledge, because in this way only you can save money. As I said earlier, you need to have an ICE gate registration. So what are the documents that will be required for registering an ICE gate? Number one is you need to have a digital signature, preferably an IC based digital signature, which will be used for registering in ICE gate. Second is your IC copy, updated IC copy. Means your existing IC, if you have generated an IC long back, you need to update it as mandated by the Government of India. You need to update it with your current mobile number, working email ID. That IC copy is required. Next is the AD code letter that is issued by your bank. Number 4 is a valid mobile number and an email ID. The mobile number, preferably, I recommend not to use a BSNL because the BSNL numbers, they don't receive OTP on time. That is one of the issues. So other carriers should be used. Next is the signatory KYC. Means if you are a proprietor, director, partner, the PAN and Aadhaar card will be required. So using these 5 documents, you can register yourself in ICE gate. So now performa invoice. Everybody was saying about performa invoice. What is actually the performa invoice? Performa invoice is nothing but just a sample of the bill. For example, I have brought, I am going to buy, let's say, 2 packets of Maggi, 10 rupees each. The shopkeeper will give me an invoice. Say, if you buy 2 packets of Maggi, it will cost you 20 rupees, 10 packets each. So that is a performa invoice. Means he is giving us a quotation that it will cost you this much. A performa invoice does not have any legal binding or it does not have any legal value. It is just a quotation before the trade is actually done. After you finalize the deal, you raise a commercial invoice. Okay, same document, same thing, everything will be same, only instead of performa invoice, it will be written commercial invoice. This commercial, when a commercial invoice is raised, this commercial invoice has legal value. So before finalizing a commercial invoice, everything needs to be calculated and decided prior to issuing the commercial invoice. So now when you have all the documents later, you have your IC, you have your GST, you have your LUT registration, okay, you have a proper commercial invoice, proper performa invoice. So when you have all these things, you know your HSN, you have done a proper packaging of your products. When you go to ship, when you go to export, the custom will clear the goods. After the custom clears the goods, they issue you a document called a shipping bill document. There is a shipping bill. This is the most important document in exports, and you must always have a copy with you, always save a copy with you, because this document will be used in future for your banking compliances. Okay, this is a sample shipping bill copy that is given there. So now, after the shipping bill is raised, your products are sent. So the trade part is completed, means you have shipped the products to the foreign country. Now when you receive the money, maybe it may be through advance payment, it may be through letter of credit, okay. After you receive the payment, now the banking part comes. That is the most vital part, okay. Most of the times what happens is that the government organizations, they talk about the trade, because banking is a totally different part. The banks, they talk about banking because trade is a different part to them. They don't deal in trade. So there is always a gap. So normally exporters, they don't have the knowledge that both trade part and the banking part are together, they complete the export cycle. So after the exports are done, now you need to regularize the export. That is, regularization means you have to prove to RBI that I have shipped $100 worth of products and I have received $100. Okay. So you have sent products, how much value of products, that much money you have received. So this needs to be proven to RBI that this is done, that the trade is complete. This is called regularization process. For export bill regularization, we need 6 documents. Okay. 5 are mandatory, 1 is optional. This number 1 is we need a shipping bill copy. Shipping bill copy will be required. Second is the commercial invoice. Commercial invoice copy will be required. Third is the transport documents. Means transport documents is airway bill, lorry receipt, or bill of lading, which means that you will, when you send your products to when you export your products, so the products has to be exported, has to be transported via truck, via plane, or via ship. So whenever via any of these 3 modes the product is exported, so a bill will be issued by the logistic partner. That is called a transport document. That will be required. Fourth is the bank statement. When you receive the money, it gets reflected on your bank statement. So that copy of your bank statement will be required. Number 5th is the FIRC. FIRC stands for Foreign Inward Remittance Certificate. Okay. Whenever you receive foreign funds, money from abroad, if it is for exports or any other, it may be for any reason, the bank issues you an FIRC, means a certificate. What this certificate will have is that this certificate shows how much worth foreign currency you have received, how it is converted, what rate it got converted to INR, all the details will be given. And the 6th is the CA certificate. Only in rare compliance issues only this CA certificate is required. Other than the CA certificate, shipping, the top 5 documents are always required. That is a shipping bill, commercial invoice, transport document, bank statement, and the FIRC. So now how the regularization process, export regularization process actually happens. As you can see, the exporter ships your product, sends the product via truck to the customs. The customs issues you a shipping bill and sends a daily trade report called a DTR to RBI. Okay. The ships are then exported, it reaches the importer. The importer makes the payment. The payment is received by your AD bank. Now, the AD bank again sends a DTR to RBI saying that this much amount of received has been, amount of money has been received under this person's name. Now, and then credits the money to your account. Now, the bank does not know for which export this money is received. Okay. RBI also does not know that for which shipping bill this money is received. So you have to identify that I receive $100 for this shipping bill, $10 for this shipping bill. So when you identify them, let the RBI know that you have actually sent goods and received money, then RBI closes the case and it gets knocked off. So that trade cycle is completed. So you are free for that shipping bill, particular shipping bill. Most of the cases, exporters, they ignore this step, this regularization step. They think, no, why the bank has not told me, because most of the banks, they also forget to let you know about this regularization process because they are busy with so many products. They have to do so many works in their branches. So the exporters, no, I will not do this, I will not do that. Why show me the circular where RBI has told that. No, this is the standard process. You have to regularize. If you are doing exports, you have to regularize in RBI. Now, some of the things that we must always do whenever we are doing exports is that number one is that we must always use a accounting and billing software, just like Tally or any other My Bill Book or any other app. Okay, why? Because number one, your invoices will get saved for future references. Second, your invoices are made error free. If you're using Excel or any other handwritten things, errors may be there, and this error creates problem during regularization. So a proper billing and accounting software must always be used. Second, the commercial invoices that you will be generating, it must have the values of the invoice values must be in foreign currency. Also the values must be in INR. That is, if you are exporting products, the value is $100. So that $100 is how much in INR? Let's say the rate is 75 rupees, so it will be 7,500 rupees. So both the rates must be given. The correct foreign importer name should be given in the commercial invoices. Next, payments must always be received in your AD bank. For example, you have nominated, let's say, HDFC Bank for your exports. Okay. Now you also have a current account in, let's say, SBI. Your HDFC account is AD, registered in customs. So you should bring the money in your HDFC AD account only. If you bring the money in SBI, the money will be credited, but you will have compliance issue. You need to provide a lot of documentation which will cost you. So to avoid such things, it is better to use only one bank for imports and exports. Multiple banks using multiple bank accounts is not recommended for international trade. For domestic, you may have 10 current accounts, no issues. But for international trade, only one current AD current account should be used. Next, ask your AD bank. Always talk with the AD bank. Talk with their sales managers. Talk with their branch managers. Ask them to give them knowledge of that bank's procedures. Various banks have various documentations, various procedures are different. So whichever bank you are choosing, you should talk with the bank representative and know about all the procedures, so that you are not, you do not get stuck in any step of the export process. Next is, you should avoid receiving payments via third-party apps or third-party websites. Like, let's say, one of the famous third-party app is like PayPal. Okay. So when you receive export payments via these apps, what happens is that, number one, these apps convert your foreign currency into INR at a flat rate, means they are converting it at an MRP. Okay. So if today's rate is 75, PayPal will convert it into INR at 75. Whereas if you have talked with your bank, the bank may have converted it into it at a different rate. So you may have made a profit. But because you choose a third party, they will not negotiate, they will just convert it. So you will lose money there. Second, all these platforms have a platform charges around 3,000 to 4,000 rupees, which they will deduct from your money. So around 4,000 to 5,000 rupees, which would have been your profit, you have given some third party uselessly. So you are losing money there. So these are small things which can help you go a long way in the export business. Next is, take the RBI and its guidelines seriously, because RBI knows everything. They have been doing these businesses, they have been doing this, handling these transactions from way past. So whenever RBI is providing any guidelines or notifications, we should always follow them. Whenever the DGFT or customs is giving some instructions, we should follow them precisely, because if we don't follow them, we will be only be the person who will be in problem. We will only be fined. We have to pay fine. So we should be very careful regarding these things. Also, now as in the earlier session, we have been there was various discussions on packaging. Okay, me as a consultant, when I have handled clients from various areas from all over the Northeast, and I have seen their products and all. Some of the issues I like to point out in packaging that I normally see is that, even in the downstairs exhibition, if you can go and visit, whatever I say, you will say it will match. The primary packaging, let's say you are packaging, let's say a bottle of honey. You are using a glass bottle, very good, nice glass bottle. But the label, if you see at the label, the printing quality is very poor. the letters are getting faded, the color is faded. So whatever USP you had of that honey that you are, it may be organic honey, all the USP is lost because you have chosen a very poor quality paper for printing. So these are the small things that you need to always observe and maintain. Packaging, whatever product you are selling, you should build your brand. Brand building means something that is good, but you should let the people also know it is good. For example, in the below exhibition, most of them have, I think, made this amla candy. Okay. So if you, same candy is very good, it is made hygienically, it's of world class quality, export quality. If you pack it in a simple plastic bag, PP bag, and another place you pack it in a very well furnished like this lace packet or something like that, which one you will buy? You will obviously buy the colored, flashy, good quality packaging, correct? Same thing is there, but because of the packaging and the quality of the packaging that you are using, the pricing will also change, the demand will also change. So the quality, the branding should keep me focused. The packaging is a part, but branding is also necessary. You should let people know that I have a good product. आदमी को मालूम चलना पड़ेगा कि आपका सामान अच्छा है, लेकिन आप सोना भी बेचेगा नहीं तो कोई खरीदेगा नहीं. That is the thing. So branding is very, very necessary. Next is that if you are packing something, if you are packaging some goods without using any preservative, and you are saying that the product has a shelf life of 2 to 3 months, you should check that, okay, you are not using any preservative, but this 3 months of packaging, whether the taste and quality changes. Okay, so something that is packed today without using any preservative, it may taste good. After 3 months, the product may not go bad, it is still eatable, but the taste may change. So if the taste changes, your product's USP goes down. ये तो खराब सामान बेचता है. Taste is not good. So
okay, Mr. Can you
just last slide.
We have 2 more presenters. No?
So these are the small things that you need to maintain. Okay. Lastly, what are the services that we provide? We provide international banking and consultancy, the FEMA compliances, all the registrations, guidance, training related to imports and exports, related to international banking and trade. All these are being provided by us. So at any point of time, if you have any issues, you can come to us. We'll help you, guide you on your export journey. So with these words, I will conclude my speech. So I welcome any kind of questions that you may have.
Yeah, thank you, Sir Javed. Yeah, is there any questions from the audience related to this documentation procedure in exports? Mr. Javed has made very good presentation on the nitty-gritty aspects of the documents to be complied with, starting from pro forma invoice, about shipping bill, commercial invoice, so on and so forth, and various other regulation that an export organization is supposed to fulfill in terms of the settlement of the payments with the banks, so on and so forth. So that's why it seems to be very simple, but it is very, very important. He has rightly pointed it out. Even the money has been received, everything is all right, but regularization is to be done. You have to just prove it that the money is received actually through the banks, the same amount what he has raised in the bill, like that. So that's why it will be very useful for the young or the new exporters to take care of these aspects, so that in your long journey of export business, at least you can comprehend all this kind of things. Yes, questions, if any one of you is having questions, please feel free to raise it. Otherwise, we'll proceed. Okay, thank you very much, Javed. So, thanks for your very extensive presentation. I hope it will be very beneficial to all the exporters and the budding exporters. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will be just continuing our technical session with 2 more presenters. That will be through online mode, that the virtual mode. I now just would like to invite Miss Malvika Jagi from Global Linker. She will be sharing on one very important area of export business through the e-commerce and retail exports in today's changing business. So that's why there are so many platforms available today, Amazon, Flipkart, so on and so forth. And through this kind of a platform, we can also do so much of business, both domestic and international. So now we will be just learning many more aspects from the Malvika Jagi, and hope she will be talking all these things as a practitioner, as a consultant from the Global Linkers. So I request Ms. Malvika Jagi to take your time, please.
Thank you so much for the warm introduction. So I won't take too much time and we'll just get started first. Let me know if anybody can confirm once you can see my screen.
Yes, Malvika, we can see it.
Yeah, it's visible. Okay, please carry on.
Yes. So the Indian Business Portal is what I want to discuss with all of you today. It is an international trade hub launched or being launched by FIO for Indian exporters and foreign buyers. The domain URL is Indian Business Portal. So I would invite each one of you to actually make the most of it. Today's session, we will focus on how the portal will actually make a difference to your export business. So let me just quickly tell you what the agenda is like. We'll just skip all of this due to paucity of time, but we will discuss about how digitization today is playing a very key role. Then what is FIO Global Linker, how you can benefit from it as a business. Then what is the Indian Business Portal, how can you list your business. Then how easy is it, or how it actually takes about just 10 minutes to create your entire e-store. So an easy e-store creation process is what will be discussed. And then we'll take on some examples and certain case studies of exporters already listed, because we have 2,000 plus exporters already on the Indian Business Portal. So I'll showcase to you some of their examples, and then we'll keep it open for a quick Q&A session. Now, digitization, like you know, is the key, and let me just show you some things to make you relate to it. Suppose there is a seller in India and a buyer somewhere else in the world. How do you think that we will be able to connect them, or how do you think they'll be able to make the most of it by connecting with each other? The answer today always remains, I think we all know now, that digital is key to doing it. So let's see a few statistics on the shifts that are happening globally today. Over 49% of all B2B purchasing is now conducted via digital channels, which means almost 50% of people are buying via digital channels. So if you're not currently digitized, then you're losing out on that aspect of purchasers. Then I wanted to see how many of you could guess. Almost 75% of these will actually be millennials. So we all know that the transaction that they do is always online. So it's again very important to digitize your export business. And then out of these millennials, 44% of them want and have expressed that they want a seller-free sales experience, which means that they don't wish to come to an offline outlet. They want to be able to transact without interacting with any particular seller, which means all the information, the images, the product description, all of that should be in front of them, and then they make a conscious decision of whether they want to purchase or not. So now that we know what are the big shifts that are happening, let me tell you what FIO Global Linker is and how you can actually benefit from it. So let's take an example. If you were to meet, this is a person, Mr. Sumit, who has an export business, and then there is a gentleman called Mr. David, who actually has an import business. So if these two importers and exporters were to meet, what would they really do? So firstly, they would look at sharing information about their business with each other. So think of yourself as maybe David and somebody else is Sumit, and you're meeting for the first time, and they can be a prospect customer for you. You would want to share about your business. You would want to tell them a little about your product or service offering, and then you would want to understand if there is almost like a business opportunity or what is the requirement. Then you send out a proposal or a purchase order or a purchase requirement, and then you actually maintain the relationship. That's what you would normally do. But what if you can't meet? What if you can't meet physically? That is exactly what FIO Global Linker is trying to solve. No matter where David and Sumit are, wherever in the world, they can be connected, and that, of course, happens digitally. So FIO Global Linker is a platform where all businesses come onto this one digital address and connect with each other, interact about new purchase requirements, about how they can grow, how they can learn from each other. People are talking about sharing knowledge, getting new raw material providers. So everything that you need in relation to export, even to the point that there are trade alerts being shared. So that's what you will find on FIO Global Linker. Now, just a few statistics about where we are today. We have over 4 lakh plus SMEs across the world interacting with each other from 150 plus countries with 1 million connections made, a lot of like-minded groups created and people interacting on them. A lot of discussions initiated. For example, I'm looking for a new distributor, or I'm looking to export to a new region, and articles that have information or knowledge in their expertise. Then we have, as one capability, an e-commerce store builder. So we have about, almost now the figure is 15,000. So 15,000 stores created, 51 million revenue generated, listings, inquiries. And these are our some of our partners, which include the Telangana Government, Retailers Association of India, Federation of Indian Export Organizations, FIO, ICICI Bank, Union Bank of Philippines, as well as we have some affiliate partners and service providers that actually enable business online. Now, coming to the main part, that is the Indian Business Portal. What is it and how it can be beneficial for you? So let's take the same example again. The importer David thinks about how he could generate genuine exports from India. Today, if he had to think about it, it's a question that probably doesn't have a very definitive answer. So what if you imagine that there is a portal which actually has all exporters from India at one place? And that exactly is what Indian Business Portal stands for. It is a connecting platform between Indian exporters and foreign buyers. It is an initiative by the Federation of Indian Export Organizations, and we, Global Linker, are the technology partner for this. Now, let me quickly just play a very short video on what the portal is and how features are. Is it audible, the video?
Not yet.
Okay, so let me just stop this and show the portal to you live instead, because I'm not sure if there's any technical issue with showing the audio on both the screens. But this is how the portal looks like. There is a special focus on GI products. Each state has been showcased with all the GIs that exist today. Every category has been listed. So if you are an exporter and would want to list your business, you could definitely have the eyeballs of the prospect customers. Now, the store is not limited to being just a buy now functionality. the Indian Business Portal services both B2B, B2C, small orders, large orders. So if you see on my screen, there's price on request with a send enquiry, which means that the prospect buyer can actually say that I'm looking at interacting with the seller. The seller can understand the requirement and provide a customized quotation. So that also exists here. This is how I'm just scrolling through and showing you how the portal looks like and how you could really feature your business. Let me actually just go to one particular product and show you how images and description and certain features about the product make a lot of difference. Now, if you see on my screen, there's just one image of this product. This is not an ideal scenario. If you have a product, you should show various angles of that image and upload maybe even certain certifications, certain information that builds trust from the customer. If you see now, they've also showed what is their export turnover, where are they currently exporting to, what are the other countries that they're looking at exporting into. So this is how the portal is actually envisioned. Now let me just go back to, yeah. Now, what is an easy e-store creation? Now, the benefit of linking to the Indian Business Portal also is the fact that you will get an e-store of your own, an online store of your own. We have actually created recorded videos to help you. It's absolutely free to do it. You could learn and understand how to create your entire catalog or digital catalog of your products. And once that's created, it can be easily linked to the Indian Business Portal. Since we're running out of time, I'm not going to show the process of how to create an online store, but I will share my contact details. And if somebody is looking at maybe even asking us or our team to actually create it for you, we'll be happy to help at a very nominal cost. But you could actually learn to do it all by yourself if you have all your products in place with your images, your descriptions. It's 20 minutes to create your store with a logo, with a domain URL, with lifelong cloud hosting. Then let me just show you a couple of exporter stores that are already made. So if you see this, Rameshwar Singh Wooden Toys is an organization in Bihar that already has created their store. Then there is maybe a Mirzapur handmade carpet. Let me actually just after this show you some of the stores live. But these are a couple of examples. No matter which industry you are in, you can showcase your products differently. You can add banners. You can customize it to the extent that you want to, even to the point that you could start doing SEO activities on your store. Now let me just show you this website. So this is how it looks, where they've actually added their products. They've added a section on About Us. So it need not actually be only an informational based website. It should be an e-store where people can actually transact. So we're actually come towards the end of the session, where I wanted to actually keep it short such that we can take on any questions. There are various providers that we've tied up with, whether it's logistics, we have Aramex, or for payment gateway, there's PayPal already integrated. So you don't have to worry about all of that. But it's about making your export business discoverable online. Shifting with the change that's already happening today and enabling prospect buyers to actually explore your products, understand a little more and transact at their convenience without actually being dependent on whether they can interact with you or not at their time of convenience. So I'll stop here and see if there are any questions from the audience. And we could take it from there.
Yes. Questions, if any, from the audience? In fact, Ms. Malavika Jagi from Global Linkers, one of the technical partners of YO, is sharing about doing business, aligning with them and providing the interface between the exporter and the buyers across the globe. So that's why with the use of technological intervention, with the use of online platform, we can do so much of business. This is what she is sharing. And in fact, she has given us the cases some of the exporters are doing, and with the use of different platforms, etc., etc. Yes, any one of the audience, if there is any question, please feel free. Okay. Well, there is no question as such. Thank you, Ms. Malvika Jagi, for sharing such a beautiful insights about e-commerce platform and how you can just move ahead in the export businesses. And I believe some of our exporters can just talk with you and they can take your services for the better growth. Well, we have the last but not the least.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Malvika Jagi, for your valuable time and insightful thoughts you have shared with us. And we have the last but not the least, the resource person, Ms. Jovin Chaudhary from Federation of Indian Exports Organization, FIO. Ms. Jovin Chaudhary will be sharing participating in international trade fairs and exhibitions. In fact, this is one of the most important area. Instead of customers reaching to us, why not we reach to the customer? So that's why through participation in exhibition, trade fairs, we can promote our products all across the globe. So how we can just get the benefits, how we can take the opportunities of participating trade fairs in different countries organized by different trade association and organization through the incentives and other provisions given by PO and other agencies of Government of India. So I now would like to request Ms. Jovin Chaudhary from PO to kindly take your time. Yes, Ms. Jovin Chaudhary, please.
Good evening, Professor Ibohal. I hope I'm audible to everybody.
Yeah, you are audible now. You please carry on.
Thank you so much, sir. It was wonderful seeing you after a long time, I think after 6 months.
Yeah, me too. Hope you are doing well.
Last time I was there physically for the Vaniji Utsav, and this time I'm there on a virtual mode. Thank you, Rishi Kumar, sir, for your concerted effort, and definitely thank you, Kaushik, for giving me this opportunity on speaking on this particular and a very important topic on participating international trade fair. What today I will be sharing with you, I won't be sharing any presentation. What I would really like to share with you all, some real life experiences, whatever in the last few years on the trade fairs I have participated. I was fortunate enough to be part of quite a number of delegations overseas. And I will be sharing some of my experiences with you all. Since I'm not able to interact with you all, it is on this virtual mode, it is not possible, so I'm not able to ask questions from you. But I believe many of you who are over here have been participating in domestic trade fairs over the years. How many of you have been participating in international trade fair? I have no idea as of now. But taking a cue that you have been participating in domestic trade fairs, I will take this forward from here. Why do we participate in a trade fair? Now, in case when you are participating in a trade fair, naturally the first thing that you're going over there is to sell your products. That is retail sale. You're selling your products across the counter. In some of the cases, in some of the trade fairs, I'm very much sure you must be having also buyers, domestic buyers perhaps, from various organizations who are coming there to source your products from you. Now, if we take the same thing in the international format, it is not a different thing. Whatever you're doing in the international domestic thing, you are doing the same thing in the international area, but in a much more refined and organized way. I have been listening to these sessions right from morning. All said and done, we have an IC, we have everything, we have documentation, we have bank, we have this, we have that, we have everything. And we have our product also. The most important question is that after knowing so many things and having my product, what do I do with my product? I need a buyer. In simple word, I need a buyer. I need a market for my products. So what is the best way out to find a buyer for my product? There are various methods, but today I will be specifically focusing on participating in international trade fair to finding your buyers. This has been endorsed and repeatedly said by the various embassies, Indian embassies all over the world, even all the consulate offices that will liaison in Calcutta, that if you want to penetrate in any market, in any country, the best way out is participation in a trade fair. In a trade fair, when you're entering the country, when you're participating in the trade fair in that particular country, why it is important? Because you get a wider market for your product. You are also getting to meet the prospective buyers on a personal basis, on a physical basis. The interaction is much more smooth when we are meeting somebody physically. We do understand that Corona had created a huge problem. The movements, the mobility was all restricted. But when everything is opening now, it is always suggested to participate in any trade fair, provided which is relevant to your product, and then attend that to find your buyers. I will go into some little details. I won't take much of a time. Trade fairs are basically divided in many categories. But the most important trade fair as an exporter is only two types, either buyer to buyer and buyer to customer. Buyer to buyer trade fairs are specifically meant for those people who want to seek buyers for their product. This kind of B2B trade fairs, which PO organizes and other councils also organize, they are for 2 to 3 days trade fairs. Before even you board on the flight to visit that country, we do the matchmaking of your product with the respective counterpart over there, so that when you reach there, you have at least some good number of buyers where you can meet and have an interaction one-to-one. Another is B2C, buyer to customer. Now, buyer to customer is basically the type of a retail trade fair, the kind of trade fair I'm sure which you people must have been participating in domestic, in country, all over the country, in Delhi, Pragati Maidan and all. In B2C trade fair, there are also designated business hours where only the buyers come and meet you, visits your stalls, and then accordingly your conversation, your leads begins from there. But B2C trade fairs are mainly focused for your retail sale. They are best suited for consumer goods, handicraft items, gift items, all these things. But people who are into industrial things, it is always suggested to go for a B2B fair. Once again, you as an exporter, you as an entrepreneur, you have to take a call. The best trade fairs in the world are organized in Europe. Maximum number of trade fairs are organized in Europe, followed by North America. The highest footfall of buyers are also found in the trade fairs in Europe. When we are participating in trade fair, which I'm going to share right now, it is also applicable when you are participating in the domestic trade fairs. Now, let me share an experience over here. we were talking about GI products, and Manipur has quite a number of GI products, and they are very unique. I mean, GI means to be unique, and the product in Manipur, they are simply unique. I have myself have seen your products when I had visited Manipur, Imphal during the Vanija Saptah out there. And trust me, I have personally seen and touched each and every product that was being exhibited in Classic Grand Hotel over there. And I have spoken to so many people and said to many people, especially the handcrafted cushion covers, the upholstery, the textiles, the quality of the textiles were so very good. The designs were so very intricate that actually your products are export ready. You just have to find the right trade fair to go and participate and get connected with your buyers. As I was talking about a GI, now, when you're participating in trade fair, for example, whatever your product, maybe your product is a GI product. For example, we're talking about the black rice. Now, black rice being a GI product, you are participating in a trade fair, domestic or international. You're participating with your GI black rice product. You're taking the black rice. Now, who is aware? I mean, trade fair is also very important area where you are going to market your product. Where is a chance that you are going to brand your product? So how do you go about with that? I go to a trade fair and visit there, and people come over there and I get few leads. That is not the motto. What is important to me for over there as an entrepreneur when I'm going, I have to build a market for my product. I have to have a long-term relationship with the buyers over there. The leads which I get over there, I have to convert them in a long-term business, and also the opportunity to make a brand of my product over there. Now, how do you do that? In a trade fair, very simple, practical thing I will share with you. When I had last visited, recently I had gone to a district in West Bengal, Purulia. Their GI product is a mask. It's called Chou mask. A national award winner artist who makes this product had come down and said to me, "Madam, I participate in trade fair, but I have never ever got a good price for this, despite being a GI product, despite being a national award winner." Now here comes how you are going to capitalize, participate in a trade fair. What I had suggested to him, when you are participating in a trade fair, you are being allotted a booth. In that particular booth, it is your duty to let people know that the GI black rice, what it is. Why should I pay? I mean, another rice is 100 rupees a kg, and for example, the black rice you're selling at 300 rupees a kg. Why should I pay 200 rupees more if I don't know what it is? Now, nobody will come to know unless you say that thing to somebody. I mean, I'm sitting with my GI product, it's a unique product, and I'm not marketing it. I'm not letting people know. It's like winking in my room and nobody's seeing it. So when you're winking, you have to wink in the crowded room so that people can see that you're winking. I'm just giving an example. So what I suggested to him, that in that particular booth, you put a banner in the backside, in the booth. Over there, you mention every GI product has a number. Mention few lines over there that this black rice has GI product this. Write a few background thing on that product. I had also suggested that national award winner, below that GI, write few lines about yourself, that you're national award winner, maker of this mask. It is a double-edged sword. How? Now, why should a person pay 5,000 rupees for your mask? Why? There are two reasons. First, your product is GI registered. It is unique and not available anywhere else. Secondly, you are a national award winner. That means there's a double branding. But how do you do it? How do you market it? By using that banner in the backside. Not only in the English language, but also in the local language. It is very important, whichever country trade fair you're visiting, make it a point that have banners, pamphlets made in the local language. It is much more easy to connect with them. When you are getting the booth, now whatever I'm saying to you right now, these are also applicable when you're in the domestic area. When you are getting the booth, make it a point that your booth is attractive enough. It should have a proper color palette, because in very simple term, जो हमारे आंखों को अच्छा लगता है हम लोग वहीं जाते हैं. If your booth you're not decorating in a pleasing, tasteful manner, remember, people might not be interested. If your booth is cluttered, people might not be that interested. I'm talking about serious buyers. So these things are very little small things which you have to keep in mind if you are planning to visit an international trade fair overseas. And you have to be very, very professional. Always keep small samples in your booth. And always keep a glass bowl so that people can drop in their visiting cards. I have seen in my visit overseas in the trade fairs, when buyers or any query, any people comes in, people are just exchanging card like this, the owner of the booth, and keeping the cards in the sideways. No, you never know those cards will be helping you in generating leads. So naturally, you have to start your organizing from there. You have to give a professional look to your booth. You're keeping a glass bowl in the counter so that whoever is coming is able to drop in the card over there. If possible, also keep a visitor's book. It is very important. If you're into retail in a B2C, I understand that is always not possible. But there's no harm keeping a visitor's book. If your product is very unique, you can always request, if the person buys anything, to put down the person details. You never know how you can get connected with that person. One more thing is that you have to be very proactive and attentive when speaking with your prospective buyer. Second, before participating in the trade fair in that particular country, make it a point that you do a market study. That if you're taking your rice, black rice over there, what is the demography over there? How would you able to build the taste palette of the people over there so they can have that rice? Now, if you're visiting a country and the country is not a rice eating country, the staple food is not rice, but you're taking black rice, then how do you encourage people to try that? Naturally, your pamphlets will be talking about, describing about the health benefits of the black rice. Post-COVID, everybody is very keen on immunity building, health thing and everything. So naturally, when you go to a trade fair with your black rice, once again, which is GI registered, you can always mention the medicinal benefits of the black rice. Even people who are not rice eating will be keen to buy that, to find out that if it is health benefit to you, they will definitely buy it because it is helping to build your immunity. Make it a point before going there to have an appointments with the leading chamber of commerce over there. If the trade fair is for 4 days, make it a point to stay for 6 days. 2 days extra, why? Because before going, you have taken appointment with the leading chamber of commerce over there to speak with them, meet with them with your samples and catalogs and brochures. So that once you come back, you can again get in touch with them. It is very important after you come back that you keep a regular follow-up with them. You should be, if you have an Instagram page, whatever social media you have, when you participate in a trade fair, always mention that you are participating over there in your Facebook page or in your Insta page or your LinkedIn page. Make it a point that people are aware that you are going to participate in that particular trade fair and your booth number is this. Something very important, I'm sharing from experience. Whichever personal goes to the international trade fair, the person have to be very, very professional. We have to keep our mind out of the thing that we are not going there for ghumne, not for vacation. We are going there for business, and we have to convert all our leads into business. So the person, whoever is going, should be very professional, should know how to deal with people, should understand that tens and fifteens of hundreds of people who are visiting the booth, who are the actual genuine buyers and will be helpful for you. And also make it a point when from a company, if 2-3 people are coming, find out who is the decision maker over there. I won't take any more time because I'm already speaking for the last 20 minutes. I'll just close it now. If anybody has any question, particular in participant trade fairs, you can definitely ask me questions now.
Yes, anybody from the audience? In fact, I definitely love to see all the exporters from Manipur to attend as much as international trade fairs and exhibitions you can. So in fact, for that matter, Ms. Join Chowdhury is here to help you, guide you, and you may avail of such opportunity. Yes?
Sir, I had missed out one thing before I take the question.
Yeah, please.
When you participate in a trade fair, there are various kind of subsidies given by Government of India.
Okay.
One is Market Access Initiative, where you get the booths in a very subsidized rate. Okay. Even at times the airfare, booth, everything are reimbursed. If you check FIO's website on the various trade fairs that we are participating, it is all mentioned over there. If it is MAI subsidized, that means if the, I'm just explaining, if the booth is 5 lakh rupees, you are getting the booth for 2 lakh rupees. The 3 lakh Government of India is already subsidizing for you. You are getting airfare reimbursement for one person. So these are the some of the benefits which Government of India gives. Even MSME department, Government of India have various incentive subsidized things. And last but not the least, there are some trade fairs which are exclusively for women entrepreneurs, which are 100% subsidized. So you have to keep in touch with FIO website, or my colleague Kaushik is there for that. Any questions, please?
Yes, any question? In fact, recently also many of our entrepreneurs from the state of Manipur had participated in the Dubai International Trade Fair, and I believe many of our entrepreneurs from the state of Manipur might have been benefited, and few might also have extended wherever possible help and assistance to our entrepreneurs. Yeah. Yes, questions if any from the audience? Otherwise, we will be just winding it up. Thank you very much, Ms. Zuain, for sharing such a valuable insights for the exporters and the budding exporters. In fact, you have shared about the professionalism in dealing with the people and attending in various other international trade fairs, the small things, just like bringing small samples and keeping one glass bowl for collecting the visiting cards. It's nothing like that. It works very well in identifying some leads in that kind of a situation. And that way you have rightly pointed it out about the products, especially the chakhao, the black rice, what we are just exporting quite a lot of late from the state of Manipur. Its ingredients, its benefits, its medicinal values, and maybe antioxidant, whatever. So that's why this is one kind we can just sit with. That's why it is again linked with the packaging and also a little bit of research to be taken up. What are the ingredients content in such kind of a product that we need to do it? Not only in chahao, maybe so many aromatic plants, medicinal plants, even the green teas from different herbs available in our state it's now picking it up. I know so many green teas of different varieties are exporting in different countries today, and it's really giving so much of great contributions in the economy of the state. And finally, but not least, meeting people. Through meeting, through interaction, through relationship, and through better networks, business can be flourishing. So that's why if we want to engage in the export business, we have to transform our mindset. We are supposed to have professionalism in dealing with the things. And of course, as I said in the morning too, we have to think about the quality, quality, and quality. That quality definitely will make a whole lot of differences from the crowds. So that's why we are supposed to sit with how acceptable our products are today, and how we have to add more values to our products and services so that it can go miles together and it can definitely uplift to different levels. I believe we have so much of potentials, and from since morning to the end, we have got so much of insightful thoughts from all the presenters, the respected resource persons. They have deliberated extensively very well in the respective trades and fields related to export businesses. And for this technical session, I express heartfelt thanks to all the esteemed panelists who had shared their valuable thoughts. In fact, starting from Sri S.K. Gangte, the Superintendent of Customs, ICP More, for sharing the true realities and the recent developments coming up in this segment. In fact, many of our entrepreneurs, traders, and exporters are looking forward to making this segment a vibrant segment for doing normal trade in the years to come. Then we have Sri Javed Akhtar Hussain from Trade 40 Consultancy, sharing his valuable thoughts on simplifying the export documentation procedures, and also sharing small nitty-gritty things which we are supposed to comply with the banks, with various other institutions, and with the use of information technology, we can make it simplified much further, and that will be very, very useful for the exporters. And we have Sri Kapil Arora, again from SIPMAX. He presented his valuable ideas, experiences, and the practical insights about simplifying logistical hindrances in exports, how it can be overcome through their intervention on a virtual mode. And we also just have got about other presenter, Ms. Malvika Jagi from Global Linkers, one of the technical partner of FIO, providing the different kind of a platform, the e-commerce kind of a system, so that our exporters can get good access to many of the potential buyers the world over. And finally, but not least, just now, Ms. Join Chaudhary had shared a very, very interesting area, how we can physically move and attain to various international trade and exhibitions where our products can be showcased, and we can just develop linkages and may be able to expand our market base to different parts of the globe. This is how Government of India is supporting to many of the exporters, especially the local exporters who are having in their businesses in the far-flung areas, but having so much of export potential. Their potentials are to be nurtured well, and in fact, they may be able to contribute in the developmental things to happen in this part of the country too. So at the outset, at the end, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to all the esteemed participants, delegates, resource persons, special invitees, and the organizing team, especially AMIA and the FIO officials, for organizing such a wonderful mega export conclave in the state of Manipur. In fact, you people have made some sort of an awakening message to the entrepreneurs of Manipur. I believe in the days to come, many of our entrepreneurs will be looking towards exporting their products and services. That way, they will be strengthening their entrepreneurial activities, and finally, they will be contributing a lot in the employment generation and the economic growth and the development of the state. That way, together, we can make our state an economically vibrant state in the days to come, and for that matter, we should work in a concerted manner in the global standard. With that note, I am very much thankful to each one of you for the patient hearing, for sharing your valuable thoughts. In fact, the one day mega export conclave. We started in the morning, and now it's going to be an end. However, there is a saying, we know, if there is a beginning, there is an end. But as for the true export activities or export phenomena to happen in this state, we have just the beginning. We are to have miles to go, and we have to go together, and probably we may be able to accomplish all such kind of big visions our state may be having. So I am very much thankful to each one of you for the patient hearing, and let's try to contribute whatever areas, in whatever domain we can for the betterment of our society. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much. I among the Manipur University invite us again for a detailed discussion with our students.